Hello, and welcome to the Seward House Museum,
the historic home of William Henry Seward,
who was Lincoln's Secretary of State and who facilitated the purchase of Alaska for the United States. Over the next few weeks, we are going to be participating in Civic Season, a program from Made by Us to increase access to history and civics for younger generations. But what is civics? Basically, it's the study of citizenship that explores the different rights and responsibilities required of being a member of society. Understanding civics, and by extension your role in the world, not only has a very practical application, but is also essential in understanding the Seward legacy. Civic season starts today, Juneteenth, and ends on July 4th. This is part one of an 8-part series where we'll highlight some challenging civics questions and try to give some possible explanations based on William Seward's career and political decisions. These questions have no simple answers, but discussing them today is just as relevant as it was in the mid-19th century. We'll be challenging you to answer these questions in the comments based on your own knowledge and experiences. Make sure to follow the Seward House Museum here on Insta and check for new content in the coming days. Welcome to Seward Civic Contributions, our Civic Season series. The question we're discussing today is how can people in the United States be civic friends across different views and values? First, what is civic friendship? It basically boils down to civility. It means that when we share common societal goals and values, it's beneficial to be collaborative, caring, and respectful, even with those who have different opinions. Civic friendship is important to upholding democracy, justice, and social stability, but it's not always easy. William Seward understood this challenge, and throughout his political career was largely able to maintain civic friendships, even though he was active during one of our country's most violent and divided eras. So how did he do this? Seward used a tactic called dining room diplomacy. This is something he did when he wanted to take political action but needed consensus. Over the course of massive dinner parties, Seward would engage with politicians of all different thoughts and backgrounds while constantly keeping the mood light and supplying plenty of food and drink. Both Northerners and Southerners attended these parties in the lead up to the Civil War, and the dinners ultimately led to the purchase of Alaska through Congress. What are some ways you would answer this question? Let us know in the comments below. This is Seward Civic Contributions, our Civic Season series. The question we're going to be talking about today is how have different experiences of belonging shaped who we think of as the people in the contemporary United States? If you don't have rights, or if your rights aren't protected, then are you considered one of the people? Let's use, for example, William Seward's interactions with different Native American nations. Decades before Seward's time, the Haudenosaunee had been pressured to leave their homelands here in upstate New York as white settlement expanded westward. By the time Seward became governor, the Six Nations were still under intense pressure to move, and many of them called on Seward for support. One of the nations Seward supported were the Onondagas. He wrote letters protesting their removal. However, during Seward's conversation with the Onondaga, he included assumptions of assimilation and quote-unquote improvement. Seward's lack of awareness of cultural values and his refusal to respect the Onondaga's way of life really highlights the lack of belonging and acceptance faced by many Native nations. The effects of this period's socio-political ostracization, as well as various reforms afterwards, still remain in how the people of the United States define themselves and view others. What are some other examples of how historical belonging or not belonging have shaped who we think of as the people in the United States? Let us know in the comments below. This is the Seward House Museum's Diplomats Gallery. Around me are over 100 pictures of world leaders collected by William Seward and his family. These showcase Seward's worldliness and his lifelong support for immigration. Welcome back to Seward Civic Contributions, our Civic Season series. Our question today is, why do some people from other societies seek to become United States citizens? Now, there's a lot of different answers to this question, as our country was historically built on immigration and has continued to draw immigrants over the past 250 years. Let's narrow our focus a little bit and take a look at William Seward's opinions on immigration. In the mid-19th century, the Irish, Germans, Chinese, and Italians, among other groups, immigrated to the United States en masse. Seward was outspoken in his support of their arrival and pushed for religious tolerance and widespread public education, which he believed was the key to true equality. During the Civil War, Lincoln and Seward believed immigration was crucial to the U.S. They actively invited and welcomed mass migration, and a large number of German and Irish immigrants served in the Union Army. Today, some of these draws remain, and some have changed. It can be very easy to take our rights and freedoms as citizens for granted, and many immigrants still seek these opportunities. How would you answer this question? Let us know in the comments below. This is Seward's Civic Contributions, our Civic Season series. Today, we're going to be discussing U.S. constitutionalism, where it protects liberty and equality and where it might fail to do so. Constitutionalism is the idea that a governing body's power and authority comes from a constitution and a written set of laws rather than the whims and wishes of whoever happens to be in charge. The U.S. Constitution and its Bill of Rights provided a remarkable set of liberties for its citizens when they were written in the 18th century, but those liberties did not extend to all. Slavery was protected in the U.S. Constitution, but that would change during William Seward's lifetime with the passage of the 13th Amendment. As Secretary of State, Seward led the lobbying efforts to pass the amendment, which was not a sure thing. Even with 11 Confederate states not represented, even with anti-slavery Republican majorities in both houses, the full two-thirds majority needed to pass an amendment was going to be close. Besides the moral argument against slavery, Seward also offered bribes and patronage jobs to make sure the amendment got through. The uncertainty of the amendment's passage and the underhanded methods used by Seward to get it passed show just how much of a hold slavery and anti-black racism held over the United States at the close of the Civil War. Despite these significant strides, slavery was not fully abolished. The 13th Amendment still allows for involuntary servitude as punishment for a crime. Today, with the rise of mass incarceration, there are many debates surrounding the unpaid labor of incarcerated individuals. Where do you think the Constitution protects liberty and equality, and where do you think it fails to do so? Let us know in the comments below. We can fight poverty with canals. Welcome to Seward Civic Contributions, Part 6. The question we're talking about today is, what is the relationship between economic policy and social structure? Now, I know this question may be top of mind for a lot of you, as economic policy and economic struggles have been at the heart of our current political discourse for the past couple of years. William Seward saw a massive change in the economic system over his lifetime. The agricultural America of his birth in 1801 had become a rapidly industrializing nation by the time of his death in 1872. Seward was a supporter of new economic ventures like canals and railroads, but for him, economic improvement had to go hand in hand with moral and mental improvement. To this end, he pushed for schools and libraries in every community to educate and lift up the people. On the exact opposite side of Seward's economic policies designed to uplift people was the system of slavery. This system of human bondage, this awful economic policy, directly led to the dehumanization and brutalization of millions. What economic policies today could lead to a more just and equitable social system? Do we have them already, or do we need something different? Let us know in the comments below. What is our role in the world? And by our, I mean the United States of America. Hi, welcome to Seward Civic Contributions. Today, we're asking, what can we learn about the United States' role in the world from statements by American presidents or secretaries of state, like William Seward? From the start, our country has been debating over how much we should be involved in international affairs. William Seward, who because of his purchase of Alaska is often seen as one of the first U.S. imperialists, actually lets us examine these debates within the context of one guy. Seward lived during an age of expansion. The Louisiana Purchase, the war with Mexico, and Native American removal policies all added huge amounts of land to the country over his lifetime. Seward liked the idea of a larger United States, but he knew that as the country expanded, so did slavery, and he did not want that to happen. So over the course of his 12 years in the U.S. Senate, he opposed every effort to expand the country. As the Civil War and slavery ended, Seward believed there was no reason not to expand. As shown through his Alaska Purchase, he wanted this to be done through negotiation, diplomacy, and financial influence, rather than war. Despite Seward's more diplomatic strategies, Native nations never figured into his expansion plans, and they often paid the cost. After Seward's time, we see the debates for and against imperialism taken up by different people and parties over the years. By looking at Seward, we know how much ideas and strategies can change, even within just one person. And the United States has changed a lot since Seward's day. What should the role of the United States be in the world today? Let us know in the comments below. Welcome back to Seward Civic Contributions, our Civic Season series. I'm here today with the co-writer and co-producer of this series, Kate Grindstaff.
Hi, everyone. Our last question is going to be, what is reflective patriotism? How can we balance critical and constructive engagement with our society, our constitutionalism, and our history, while also still being proud to be Americans?
First, we gotta try to define reflective patriotism. If you're patriotic, you support and are loyal to your country. If you're reflective, it means you take the time to think deeply about something. So, reflective patriotism means you don't blindly or uncritically support what's going on within your nation.
You think, you question, you engage, and you commit for the betterment of your country as a citizen with responsibilities. Understanding civics is crucial to reflective patriotism because it allows you to take informed action in support of your country while also maintaining democratic core values.
When we look into the past, we do it with distance and with a critical eye. We thoroughly research the sources we have and seek to find more. We accept a variety of perspectives while digging for the truth, even if there are multiple truths to be found.
We look at inspirational figures such as William Henry Seward and appreciate his significant and often admirable contributions to the country, while also recognizing his humanity, social position, and failures.
Patriotism, like history, is not black and white or one side against the other. It requires constant critical thought, openness, and dedication.
Seward himself was a reflective patriot, committing to the preservation of a union that was built on constitutional democracy, while also remembering that there is a higher law. So what do you think? And how would you answer this question?
Let us know in the comments below. Thank you for joining us this civic season. Go out, make informed change, and participate in your community as a reflectively patriotic citizen, just like William Henry Seward. Bye-bye.